Hi there, Jamie Keat here today at Teachers Tech. Hope you're having a great day today. Today I want to show you how to use the free VSDC Video Editor. So by free, what I mean, this has no watermark on it when you create your videos and you export them at the end. What I really like about this editor is it's not a big download, and if you have an older computer or maybe one that's not so powerful, it will work well on that. So this is a beginner's tutorial of VSDC. I'll go through the different parts. I'm going to timestamp everything down below so you can skip to different sections if there's something specific you're looking with the VSDC Video Editor. Let's get started today with this tutorial on Teachers Tech. I'm just at the product page here for the VSDC free video editor. I'll put the link down below in the description so you can just click on it and it will bring you here. Just to point out, this is only for Windows. If you're on a Mac, this isn't going to work for you. It's only about a 90 meg file, so it will download pretty quickly and install quite easily. The other thing I just wanted to point out was that there is a pro version of this that you can upgrade that has even more features to it, and it's only about 20 bucks for the upgrade. So something to think about if you like the free version and you're looking for a little bit more. Anyways, let's get started with opening up and creating a new project from scratch with VSDC Free Video Editor. So I've opened up my VSDC Free Video Editor, and you're always going to get this pop up when it opens, and you can just give you some easy steps to get started. You can click these, or if you wanted to upgrade to the Pro, it just shows what those features are. But you can go ahead, hit the X here, and now you're in the editor getting ready to start a project. Just a little bit of a walk around. I'm focusing on making a video showing you how from scratch, just from the blank project. But it can do other things for you very simply too. From creating a slideshow, you can import your content, you can video capture and screen capture. I can make different videos on these. Let me know in the comments down below if you're looking at using some of these features. And we have some quick links to tutorials. Just click on these and it will take you to there. Now I'm starting, as I said, a blank project. I can also go to new project up here. I'm just going to click on it, and this is where you're going to choose your project settings. So you could give it a name. So if I'm just going to call this one edit, and we can go through and fill out some information here. I'm not going to put anything. This is where you're going to make, if you have, if it is for YouTube, you can see where you can, or maybe you want Instagram, you could go through and pick your settings here. So I want to be full HD, 1920 by 1080, but you can go through and change these if you want your frame rate and have some customizations to this. I'm going to leave it like this. I'm going to go ahead and hit finish, and it snaps open. And just some things before I start bringing media in, I just wanted to point out in here. Notice that we have some property windows open on the right hand side over here. If you go up to view, right now it's on editor, the tab, but if you go over to view, this is where you turn them on or off. So if you're looking, if I mention a certain property window, if I click on it, you can see how it changes, and I can click on it and opens up. So if you don't see a property window that you're looking for, look under view and just select it. The other thing you can do when these are open, let's say properties we use all the time, but I don't want it eating up all the space, I want to just kind of keep it easy access. You can hit this little pin here, and then it pushes it to the side. So you can see I can click on it like this, and it just makes it a little bit easier. It gives me a little bit more real estate. I can still close these down here, pin more of these, and I have a couple of just quick ones like this I can open up from. So that's what I like to do, is pin them and then be able to just access them when I want and close them to give me more real estate. All right, so that said, let's get ready to import some media into VSDC. If you're a beginner to video editing, what I mean by importing media would be bringing in your video, your image, or audio into your video editor, in this case, VSDC. If you don't have any media to bring in, what you can do, I grabbed my media today from Pexels, which is free, and you can just search for videos or images and you can download them. So after I downloaded them, I'll put the link to Pexels down below in the description too. I've just placed them in a folder on my computer, and you can see these are some audio. I have some pictures like this one here, and I have video. So now what I'm going to do is first way you could bring in media into VSDC is just by dragging it in from your window to the layers. So for instance, if this man surfing right here, drag it right in, and it goes to right where I had my marker right here. So I can still move this around. Once you drag things into here, you can move it, you can drag it around into different spots as you bring more in. If I hover over it, it gives me information about the clip I brought in. Now, another way you can bring things in, but let's first delete this. I'll just hit delete. There's a few different ways you can do this. I could hit delete on my keyboard. I could hit delete. I could right click on it and hit delete. We have delete in a few different places. Now, anytime you make a mistake or something, under the edit tab, you just go back and hit undo and it will put it back. So you can undo a few different steps to get back to if you made a mistake a few steps, or you can redo to get what you had previously too. All right, so now let's bring in some more video, some media, and it's under objects. So if I go to the editor under this tab, I'm going to add objects. So video, images, audio, those are going to be objects. So if I click on this, you can see I'll go to video, and at this time I can go back. It opens up a very similar window, and I can pick another video just like so, and it will go in. And at this point, it's going to ask, where do I want to position it? So I could pick different, if you pick different ones to just have different positions when you bring it in. I'm just going to go from cursor position, which means wherever this is down here. So if I hit OK, and it brings in this one. So at this point, I could hover over it again and get the information about the clip I just brought in. I could preview it in a couple different ways. I could hit play right here, and it's going to give me a preview of the video. And I could hit preview here, will open up another window to show what it looks like, and I can preview it in different quality too. So if your computer was a little slowing down, you could preview it in a different quality, lower, and it won't be as good, but you'll still be able to see the things that you're doing to it. I'm just going to leave it at 720. Now I'm just going to go back to add object again. You can add multiple videos at once. If I go video, and this time I'm going to I'll pick this one, and I'm going to pick this one. So I selected two, and it's going to ask me, do I want it add to a layer or open in the wizard? When I open in the wizard, it creates a sprite. We'll put them together in a spot, but I'll show you that after I do the layer one to explain what a sprite is if you're working with it that way. But I'm going to hit add to layer. And you can see what happens here is it just added those two video clips into the layer. So I have this beginning one here. I can still drag them around, and I can move them. I could move them down into a different layer. I could bring this one if I wanted. This surfer one first. I could bring this and then go over here. And if I hit play, it's going to show me. If I just hit this, it's going to show me what I have so far. If you follow the playhead as it goes, and it will move over to the next one. So I'm putting things in order. Now I just wanted to say, as this moves over, you're going to see two different videos. All you're seeing is the top one. So if you place whatever's on the top layer is the layer that you're going to see. You're not going to see the bottom layer, even though there's two videos over there. So if you're not seeing something, maybe you have it on something covering it on a above layer. So just so you see here, it's fine. And I can move these layers around too. A few different ways you can do this. There's these arrows up here. If I click, you notice now this is on top. And if I hit play again, notice that I'm not seeing the bottom one here. So whatever one's on top. So that's an important thing to note about that. So I have a little video. I haven't done any trimming or splitting or anything. Haven't added any audio. And to add the audio, just go back to add object up top, and you can see we have our audio. And I'm just going to pick an audio example that I have from that folder that I showed you. Click it. It's going to go where the cursor is, hit OK, and it's brought it in. You can see it's just changed how the zoom view to show more because the audio is longer. I could drag this to below it. I could actually drag this above it. It doesn't really matter. With this, I could move these all around into different tracks. The audio doesn't have to be in one exact layer on it. But now if I wanted to preview it with the audio, I'll just bring back my cursor. I could hit play from here. or I could preview it from the eye. So I've brought in a little video. I've brought in like 3 different video clips and an audio clip too. So the other thing I could bring in is if I go back, add object, and I'm just going to move my cursor up here so that it's going to go in where the cursor is, add object. And this time I'm going to go to image, and I'll pick this image and just hit OK. And it put it right after this one. So now I have an image in here too. So it can go from video that we have right here. We have audio playing. And then it will switch over and go to an image. And I can pick the images to go to a certain length, but I'll talk about that more with editing. Now, before we move on to our trimming and slicing, I just want to show you what a sprite is and how to create a sprite. So a sprite is like a grouping of media together, and let me show you how it will look. I'm going to go up to add object again. I could add sprite from here, but I'm going to do it in a different way. I'm going to go to video, and I'm going to add in a couple of different videos. So I'm just going to pick just a couple different videos here. I'm going to hit open. Now, the first time I showed you add layer, and we just added to a specific layer, but if we open in Wizard, what happens is that it brings it into this, and here's the 2 different video clips that I have in here. And in between, this is where I would add my effects or transitions. So they're just up here. I can preview what they would look like. And if I liked it, I could drag it in between and it shows me what the transition is. Now I could even select different ones and do a little bit of a cropping right in here if I wanted to. Do a little editing right in here. Well, I'm not going to do that in here, but later on I'll show you how to do some more editing. I'll just hit OK. But when I hit apply, let's say if everything, I could add more if I want to add more media in here, but I hit apply, it created a sprite. So see this green right here. So this green is actually both those videos together. So I'm going to double click on this right here. And I opened up the sprite. Here's the 2 videos that I was working on. You can see it had the transition in between it too. And if you notice, it says sprite 1. It's open right here. If I close it, click the X, and it goes back to the view that I had before. So inside this sprite right here are the 2 videos. So if I hit play, the sprite is playing on top of this. So this is what you're going to see. But inside of this, double click, you see the 2 videos. So inside a sprite, you could have a bunch of different videos and adding the effects, and you could drag it all around in different places. And so it's a grouping of different videos or audio that you have in there together. So you can create a sprite from scratch. I tend to do it just from grabbing multiple media clips, but that's kind of explaining a sprite and how it works in VSDC. So I'm going to show you a few different ways that you can trim or slice your videos in order to get them just the way you want. I'm going to add a couple here. So I'm going to go add object, video, and I'm just going to grab 2 of these right here. Hit open and just add them to the layer. So I got 2 different videos here. You can see I have this one. I'm just going to bring it over and here. So I'm going to stretch this open a little bit more. I'm going to drag it here just so you can see a little bit more. And now what I can do is, so if I wanted this a bit shorter from the very beginning, what I can do is just grab the front. So if you can see how when I get that, how it changes when I hover over the front of the clip and I click and hold on my mouse and drag. So I just trimmed, I made that shorter and I can actually drag it back. So just because I've deleted or trimmed it, it doesn't mean I've deleted it. I can still drag it back if I went too far. And then the other thing I can do is I can go from the other end and trim it that way too. Now, if you have a video clip and you drag it longer than what the clip is actually, so this, in this case right here, what happens is, and I'm just gonna hit the space bar because it's a quick way to hit play, notice it turns into an image. So there's a video here. You can see the video's moving, and then it just turns into a still shot at the end. It takes the last frame and you stretch it out, and it's just filling in that last frame. So if it had audio in it, you wouldn't have any audio in it anymore. So that's how you can trim the length or add to it. But remember, you're not adding any extra video. Now, the other thing you might want to do is split in a different place. So the quick way to split, if I take my playhead and move it to somewhere, I can go up and this tool right here. So split into parts. If I click it, what it did is, if I click it, make sure I have this selected here first, and then click it, and then you can see now if I move the playhead, it made it into two pieces. So I have both selected. So if I click off of it and click on it again, I have a piece right there. And you wanted to stretch it out to see, I'll stretch it. So I could delete this piece. I could change the order. I could decide to move this one down, take this piece and bring it to the front. So you can start to change your video around into any order that you want just by trimming the ends or splitting it. Another way you could, and I'm going to stretch this out here so you can see that you could do some splitting. If you right click on the clip and you go into it, and you can see that there's cutting and splitting. If I go ahead and click on it, and at this point I can add a marker, so I could be watching it from here and I get to a certain point that, well, I'm going to bring it back to here, let's say, and you can control it in here. You can see I can add a marker, and I could actually add a double marker, so then I could play it again and add another marker and then go cut region. And then I'm going to hit apply changes, hit OK. And so what it's going to do now, it took this clip and it's broken it here. You can see it deleted some out, but I have a chunk here too. So I've added some chunks. So that's on the right click where you can do some more things in the cutting and splitting. And you can do these same things, the audio, what I'll show you later, how you can trim and split different ways too. But that's your basics for trimming and editing with VSDC. So you're just putting things in the right order, and then I'll show you the images too. So I'm going to go ahead now and add an image. I have this video that's already there, but I'm going to add an image to this. And if I go ahead and just pick this one here, hit OK, and I have this image, and you can see right through here, I'm actually going to move it up to the top layer. And I can, now if I wanted it short or long, all I have to do is grab the ends of this one. I'm going to make this a little wider down here so you can see a little bit more. And then either way, so images, just drag them and make them as long, as short as you want. So if I was using audio again though, so if I go to object and then we go to audio, and I'll just add in a audio and I'll hit OK. I'm going to just drag this down here and I'll make this a little wider, drag it down. And so at this point, what you can do is the same thing with video. You could drag from the end to shorten off the very beginning. Remember, you can drag them back, and I can go from either side of it by just clicking and dragging. And I can do the exact same thing with videos if I use the split tool. So go ahead, split it. And remember, you can take chunks. So I could make 2 points in it. If I wanted to take a chunk out, I selected everything. If I pick this one, and see how I can take the chunk out of it. And I can do the right click and cutting and splitting, the same thing that I can do with video to get the exact parts you want out of the audio. So that's how you do some trimming with audio and some images when you're placing them all together. So I want to show you how to add transitions in between different videos, or between images and video too. So what you have to do, I have 2 videos and an image here. What I need to do is drag one, put one up. So I'm going to move this one up here, and I'm just going to make this a little wider so you can see more. And I need to overlap. So I'm going to overlap here, and I'm going to overlap this one. So we'll just do like this. Now on the top layer, what I'm going to do is add transitions to this. So I have this one selected, and video effects right up here. If I go ahead and click on it and add transitions, I have a few different ones. So if I pick, let's say, chess here, and hit chess, it opens up. I'm going to hit OK. And so it just added this chest one to the end. So I can move this to either way if I wanted to, the beginning or the front. So if I'm just going to go and close out of this right here, hit the X, and now if I preview it, you'll see it will go and transition from one to the other. If I wanted to add a transition here, if I open this one, I could go back and open it up too. So if I double click on any of these, now I could go ahead and I'll move my cursor over here and add, add my video effects, and I'm going to go transition, and this time I'll go mosaic, and I'm going to hit OK. And so I'm going to have one, it went over here. I'm going to move my mosaic one to the front. Now I'm going to go to scene 0. And now if I move my cursor back here and go ahead and preview it, you'll see one transition there. And then as it moves along to the other one, I'll have another transition that will go through this one too. Now you can go ahead and use the properties. You can go in these again. If I double click on this, you can stretch these transitions out longer if you want. If I open my properties window, I'm going to go over to the right hand side, open it up. You can see that we have different things we can change right in here. How do we want it to go in? We can change any of these to just customize what we want a little bit more. And then we can go back and we can preview these again and see what the changes are like between the two different ones. So you can add different transitions just like that. Remember, it's going to be inside each clip. When you double click on it, you're going to see the transitions, and this is where you'd add your effects and everything too. Okay, so now I want to show you how you can transform your clip. So this would work the same for images and videos. I'm going to use this as an example right here. So this surfer, and I first want to show you cropping. Now cropping allows you to zoom up on an area of the video. So let's say I have this right here, this, and I'll just move this down so you can see a little bit more. Maybe I just want to zoom more up on the surfer standing there with maybe cut him off at the legs and a little bit less sky. So what I can do, and you got to make sure that you have the right one selected, go up to tools right up here, and you can see the crop tools. You can also right click on your clips too. So I could go and get to the crop tools right here if I wanted to do that, but I'm going to just click on this. So what it allows me to do is I can just move the handles here. So if I want to zoom up on a certain part, I can move it around, and I'm going to hit OK. And now it's zoomed up. So if I preview this again, you can see it's zoomed up from the knee up. So you can just simply do that. Now with the other things, you could rotate it if you want. So I could hit rotate, and I'm just going to move this clip underneath. So you can see that when I do that, you can start to see the layer below it. So I could rotate around, and that one I just was selected the wrong one, so I'm just going to Control Z, undo one, and make sure I have the right layer selected. And so I could go around and put it back. The other thing I could do is change, if I have the right one selected, I could grab the handles here and I could bring it in and move it around. So it's almost like picture in picture. So if I have this one on top of this one and go ahead and hit play now or preview, you'll be able to see two videos playing at once. You just can transform it. The other thing you can do is to change the transparency, and it's right here. So if I click on this, you can see I have a few different things that I can do where you can flip horizontal and vertical, but you can also change the transparency, so how see-through something is. And now if I just I'll hit preview one more time so you can see it. This is transparent, it's smaller, it's overlapping another one. So just some things to think about how you want to tell your story with video is maybe those multiple layers with changing transparency and using the crop tools, or just changing the scale of it on top of others. Let's say you want to speed a clip up or slow it down, so you need to change the duration of a clip. What you do is you need to go to the properties, and remember I had it pinned to the side here, so if you don't have it there, if you didn't pin it, you can go look at view and open up the properties window. But when you have the clip selected, make sure it's you have it selected correctly, and go over to here and you can see where it says speed at 100%. So if I go ahead and preview this real quickly, you can see it's moving kind of slow already. But if I want it to go faster, what I'm going to do is increase this number. So if I wanted it to go slower, I would decrease it. But if I wanted it to go faster, and I'll go to 200, and I'll go back and hit preview again, and I'll hit play, and now it's sped it up. So really quickly to change those, change the duration, just go above 100% for faster or below 100% for slower in the properties. So next, I just want to show you some of the effects that you can add in VSDC. So I just want to talk about the video effects and the different colors that you can add to it. So in any of these cases, make sure you have the clip selected that you're adding the effects to. And once you have that, look up to video effects, and you're just going to click and select which one you want. You can see there's different ones that you can change through here. Some of these are kind of what I've shown before, you know, with transforming and everything. But if I go to just special effects, and I'll pick, let's turn this into aging TV, and I'm just going to hit OK. And now I'm just going to hit preview, and what you see is that it's turned a little grainy and has lines coming down on it like an old TV that you would have. So very easy to add those effects. You can see if I go to scene 0, back to it, and then the video production one, add it right here. I'm just going to Control Z and get rid of that. And you can do the same thing with all these colors here. So if you want to drop down, you can see all the different ones that you can add. So if I was going to say, again, we'll go to old film, and I'll just select that one. Whoops, I make sure I click that one again here. Actually, we'll go with, there it is. Okay, so old film. So I just selected it, and it's added to it. So we just turned it very quickly to that clip. So make sure though that you have the clip selected that you're going to add the effects to. So one of the last things I want to show you before we export our finished product, so you can get ready to upload it or share it how you want, would be to add text. And let's say I'm going to add text. I can click the T right here. If it's not here, look under Add Object, and you'll see it's also there. So we can go ahead and add text. Just to note, you can add other things like shapes and everything from here too, but I'm just going to add text. I'm going to hit OK. Now it gives me this, so I can draw a text box. So I'm going to go ahead, draw the text box, and let's say I'm going to just start typing. So if I just say surf's up, and so my text box isn't large enough there, so I need to make sure, and I got to move the handles here. So I'm going to click off of it and click on it again, and you can see I just need it to draw it a little bit bigger. I'm just going to click in there again, get rid of that, and put it there. And I can go through and change the text color if I want. If I wanted it to be a different color, you can see if I wanted it, we'll go from there, and we can adjust the brush color, the background of it, just like that. So you can go through, every time you select on it, you get more options that you can adjust. You can see from the font size to it, if you want to keep it whatever way you want, and adjust it just like normal typing programs. You can just go through and put it the way you want. You can adjust it around. You can see there's a new layer where it's on top. I can actually move this to say where I want it to come up. So I'm going to hit my space bar, it will start playing, and it comes up there, but I could move it to another place. So you could create multiple text to write in different parts of it, but remember, just click on the T, draw your text box, and then you can type away. So now that we've added all these different features from effects, we've edited our video, put together a storyline, you want to be able to export it. So we'll go over that step now. So let's say you're all done your video and you're ready to export it. What you need to do is go over to the export tab right here, and you have some choices to make. I would, like for me, if I'm making my YouTube videos, I would have web selected here and for YouTube. And then you can make sure that all the different, setup is the way you want. And you could change this if you wanted it to be on your PC. You can go through and pick PC. Do you want it to be an AVI, move, all these. You have an option to export it as all these file types. I'm just going to leave it to the web here, and I'm going to leave it as YouTube. If you wanted to make some alterations to the name of the project here, you can see I called it edit. That's what it's going to save as right there. I could go and edit the profile, with any of these here. I could go back through and make any adjustments that I needed. So when you get everything, you can see I have 18 seconds here. If I go back to the editor, I have 18 seconds over here. And all I would need to do is make sure go to export project. They give me the option if I want to upgrade, but you don't have to do anything there. You would just hit continue. So now it's going through and producing the file. And since I have it set for YouTube, that would be the file that I could upload to my YouTube channel that I did all the editing to this. So that's kind of a beginner's level to VSDC free video editor. It can do more. Let me know what you're looking at using it for. Do you want to know green screen or what different effects you can add? Just put it down in the comments. Thanks for watching this week on Teachers Tech. I'll see you next time with more tech tips and tutorials.